There were plenty of new characters in Dexter, Original Sin who never appeared in the original Dexter, but these 6 were the biggest additions to the franchise. The cast of Original Sin is filled with returning characters from the original Dexter, like Dexter, Patrick Gibson, and Harry Morgan, Christian Slater, but also some veterans of Miami Metro like Maria Lagerta, Christina Milian, and Angel Batista, James Martinez. Because of the timeline of Original Sin, however, the prequel show couldn't be entirely filled with returning characters, and it created a host of new people who were mysteriously absent from Dexter. Many of the characters who debuted in Original Sin weren't in Dexter for a simple reason: they hadn't been created yet. Dexter had no way of knowing that Original Sin would add new people to Harry, Deborah, Molly Brown, and Dexter's lives almost 20 years after the original show started, so it couldn't include those characters. From an in-universe perspective, however, many of Original Sin's characters should logically have appeared or at least been mentioned in Dexter. These 6 characters from Original Sin are the best examples of that idea. 6. Tanya Martin. Played by Sarah Michelle Gellar. One of the more noticeable Dexter, Original Sin characters who wasn't in Dexter is Sarah Michelle Gellar's Tanya Martin. As the head of Miami Metro's forensic science team during Original Sin, Tanya worked directly with both Dexter and Vince Masuka, Alex Shimizu. She was essentially a mentor to both of them, and since Vince and Dexter worked together for years after she left the police department, it's odd they never mentioned Tanya in Dexter. Dexter does take place 15 years after Original Sin, though, so there's a more than likely chance Dexter and Masuka simply don't think about Tanya much anymore. It is still strange that Tanya is never even mentioned in Dexter, however, especially since she was important in several other ways. For instance, Tanya gave Dexter the idea to use M99 as a drug to sedate his victims, as shown in Original Sin Episode 4. Her absence from the original show only got stranger after Original Sin revealed Tanya convinced Deb to become a police officer. Tanya was secretly responsible for a lot of things from Dexter, yet she never appeared in it. 5. Clark Sanders. Played by Aaron Jennings. Another member of Miami Metro who wasn't in Dexter is Clark Sanders, Dexter's first police officer friend. As Original Sin progressed, audiences learned that Clark was a gay police officer, and after being spotted at a gay bar, confided in Dexter about his secret. Clark even asked Dexter for help during Bobby Watt's blood drive, and ironically called him a lifesaver. Despite being the first person Dexter really clicked with at Miami Metro, Clark Sanders wasn't in Dexter at all. His desk at the front of Miami Metro's office was taken up by various unnamed police officers and receptionists instead. Like Tanya, there's a very good chance Dexter simply didn't think about Clark much 15 years after they first met. Clark also could have moved away from Miami, transferred to a department other than homicide, or simply not be friends with Dexter anymore during the original show. There is, however, another possible explanation for why Clark may not have appeared in Dexter. Miami Metro may have found out his sexuality. In the early 1990s, that would have been disastrous for Clark's career, and he may depart Miami Metro as a result. 4. Sophia. Played by Raquel Justice. Miami Metro homicide wasn't the only source of character disappearances. Deb's best friend and Dexter's first girlfriend, Sophia, was also never mentioned in Dexter's 8 seasons. At the start of Original Sin, Deb and Sophia seemed inseparable. They were both on the volleyball team, they hung out constantly, and even tried drugs together. Friends often grow apart as they age, but Deb and Sophia seem to be very important to one another. It's not as strange that Dexter never reminisced about her, given how their romance ended, but he still could have mentioned her when ruminating on his lack of interest in sex in Dexter Season 1. Sophia's absence from Dexter is also unique for another reason. Original Sin had the perfect opportunity to explain her absence, but didn't take it. Deb and Sophia had a falling out after Deb refused to believe that Dexter cheated on her, and the two weren't even on speaking terms for the second half of Original Sin Season 1. Original Sin could have simply used the excuse that Sophia and Deb became enemies to explain why she wasn't in Dexter, but instead, the prequel show had them make up in the season finale. For now, Sophia's absence from Dexter is unexplained. 3. Bobby Watt. Played by Reno Wilson. One of the more curious characters who was missing from the original Dexter is Bobby Watt, Harry's longtime partner at Miami Metro. Harry and Bobby worked together for decades, ever since they were working narcotics and using Laura Moser, Brittany Allen, to take down the drug kingpin Hector Estrada in the 1970s. Since Bobby and Harry worked together for so long, Dexter should have had some memories of Bobby, or at least made mention of him, in Dexter. He could even have talked to Bobby's wife, Missy, Keisha Thompson, for more information about Harry's secretive past.